All right, Alex. So, who are some of your favorite MMA fighters
Oh
right now?
man, you're gonna get mad right away because I'm gonna steal some of yours.
Fuck you, bitch.
Um,
Also, by the way, everybody, it's a freestyle. I'm not doing a whole intro, but we're going to be talking about anything from our favorite fighters all the way through a bunch of different topics that me and Alex decided to discuss.
yeah,
So, tune in, listen up.
it's Wonderland. Who knows where we'll go?
Yeah,
Bobby Knuckles, Robert Whittaker. I know
big fan.
that's
Love
one
him.
of your biggest guys. I don't know. I enjoy his like pressure and I don't know what the right word is, like pursuit, right? He's always on the offense, always moving forward, always looking um to work, right? And that's something I enjoy watching from him.
Outside
What
of
else?
that, what else do you like about Bobby? Like, do you like his pace? Do you like outside of his nickname should not be the Reaper, it should be Bobby Knuckles. I hate that he has to say the Reaper when we all know him as
Well,
Bobby
he brings
Knuckles.
that kick pretty nice.
I know.
But yeah, I like his pace. I like a lot of his demeanor. Like he's level headed, pretty nice, but also like knows when and how to like throw down and get to work, right? And so
Extremely high fight IQ. That's one of my favorite
yeah.
reasons to watch him fight is that he'll go into a firefight, but he's like a very, we'll say like methodical firefighter, if you will.
hmm Yeah, no, absolutely fun to watch. I mean, I think everybody's favorite fighter nowadays is Max Holloway, right? Like
Max always great, dude.
but he was great way before the 300 moment. Like
Yep.
that's I think what a lot of people need to recognize, right? When he had his featherweight reign, bro, it was like god damn. And barring Alex Volkanovski,
Beat
which
everybody.
which we might see Holloway kind of skip the line to Topuria, which would be
I
fucking
think we are going to see
dope.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what, October?
I believe so. Yeah. Well, I don't
Yeah,
know.
that
It's not announced. I'm not, not breaking anything, but no, I believe it should be October is what they're looking at.
dude, I know Topuria was a killer, but I think he just sprang his way up there. I don't
Yeah.
know that he's 100% like earned his medal like
I
champion
don't
of
know, dude.
champions.
He hits like a fucking Mack truck.
Yeah, and I
And he
don't
has
doubt that.
wrestling that never gets tested because they can't get through his hands.
Who
His
did
wrestling is
he
fantastic.
who did he beat in the two fights leading up to his title shot? Let me
I know
look
he
it
beat
up.
Bryce Mitchell pretty bad. But then who did he beat right before? It was Josh Emmett. Beat the brakes off Josh Emmett.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's earned, right? There's
Yep. Yep. Josh
no
can fight, dude.
nothing unearned there. So
Yep.
I don't
I
I don't
know
know. I
what you
just
say. I know what you're saying though, because it's like Max and Volk have that storied career, so
they're
it
like,
just seems
yeah, they're
like they've been
champions
around, or they've
amongst
been around
champions.
forever. And yeah, they're
Yeah.
right. Two of them, they're some of the greatest of all time. And then
Yeah.
Ilia comes in. He's what is he? 13 and 0, 12 and 0,
15.
15 and 0. Barely, like he has 1/3 of the amount of fights as Max Holloway probably.
Yeah.
And it seems like he skipped everybody to get to this spot.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'd be really excited to watch it. I'm kind of doubtful on Topuria. Not doubtful in his skill or sense, and doubtful in does he belong up there amongst the greats,
Yeah,
right?
I
And
think
so he's got to earn that a little bit more.
it's going to be an interesting fight because of Max's range and length. I think that's going to throw a little bit different of a like I guess a challenge at Topuria just because like think about Josh Emmett and Volk have basically the same like body type.
Yeah.
Short, stocky, hit like a Mack truck. Alex's legs are a little bit longer, but like
Yeah.
they're both the same stature. Now we add in somebody with that range, and that adds in that extra element of, oh, can I get to the inside or can I
Yeah.
get to wrestling?
Yeah. Which very few people have been successful doing that to Holloway, right?
Dude,
It,
sprawl and brawl for days.
Dude, it's so wild to watch. Some of those guys that are at like the top level, like the wrestling literally does just negate itself,
Yep.
right? Like Justin Gaethje doesn't wrestle even though he could, right? Nobody wrestles Max Holloway even though he could, right? It's just like the wrestling negates itself so that we can have a stand up fight, not that's a way out, right? So that's a
100%.
kind of an interesting observation there. But my third I don't know if I'd say favorite fighter, but somebody that I definitely think is fun to watch is Kevin Holland. And he's kind
Yeah.
of like he's my oddball pick, right? The other two guys are like hustle type of pace type of guys that like I can like sympathize with. That's a
Yep.
lot of how I wrestle. That's kind of my style. is that kind of pace. But Kevin Holland's just so out there that it's just always entertaining to watch. You know, as he was on that run of 5-0 in 2020, and then fighting Stephen Wonderboy Thompson was fun to watch. This most recent loss against MVP was like, what's gonna happen? And he ended up getting beat. But
he's always an exciting fight.
It's interesting. Yeah, I'm always wanting to tune in to Kevin Holland, which I don't think I'm alone in that sense.
No, he's a personality, dude. He likes to be in front of the camera, and he likes to have fans. Like, I would say probably one of my favorites that you didn't say is somebody that's the exact opposite, and that's Shavkat.
Yeah.
Shavkat Rakhmonov is the boogeyman.
Head down work. Yeah.
He is absolutely unreal when it comes to basically being a complete mixed martial artist. He can do it all. I mean, that standing, we were together in Vegas when it happened. When he had that standing rear naked choke on Jeff Gale and finished him with basically just arm strength.
What?
That's amazing to be able to do to somebody in the top 10 as it goes. And for him to only be, I think he's only maybe 12-0. Like, he might be a little bit higher, but I know he has less than 20 fights. So it's impressive nonetheless. And the technical superiority he shows over pretty much everybody is, to me, amazing.
Yeah, no, I don't doubt. I actually don't have a lot to say on him because, like, that is what it is. He's just
a fucking killer.
He just fucking goes. Yeah. Again, kind of on my oddball train. I like guys that are like imaginative and kind of like create their own style. And two guys
like Michel Pereira.
That's a little too saucy for me. Corey Sandhagen is fucking
Corey's one of my
watch.
favorites. Yeah.
And then how I imagine Corey Sandhagen would fight if he was at 205 is Yuri Prohashka.
Yeah, fair.
Like those are two
free
guys
flowing, being able to like
super,
chain.
Uncanny type of styles, right? And stance switches, constant, always something unorthodox coming from an odd angle, right? And like that's just interesting to watch for me, knowing some more of the fundamentals, but seeing that stuff being successful. Right? It's like the definition of what we talk all the time about cook to chef. It's like these people aren't breaking the wheel because they never learned how to ride a bike. It's like, no, they mastered riding a bike and now they're making their own fucking bikes. Right.
Right. It's like people are afraid to, like, one of the things that separates both of them is they can be extremely creative because people are afraid to try to take them down.
Yeah.
Like, they both land really good elbows from that position if they have a head inside double. Both of them have very good and strong hips when they get to the cage to where they can get long and they can move their hips left to right to get away from takedowns. And both of them can offensively wrestle if they have to. They're not the best at offensive wrestling, but they can if they have to get out of a bind or to solidify a round. So it adds in that extra threat, if you will. Of what allows them to be creative because people don't want to have to wrestle with them because they know they're competent.
Yeah.
And one of the other things, like, I love, like I said, like the knees and the elbows, both of those guys are into cutting people open, which as a fan, I love. And as a coach, like, if they was my athlete, them scoring points, them looking good to the judges, them opening up damage, I think they're so efficient with both of those tools that are a little bit more prone to opening up cuts that it's fun to watch them because, I mean, as people know, like, it's a spectator sport and some of the best moments are when there's blood on somebody's glove or if there's a big old cut underneath somebody's eye. It adds to the win or loss.
Dude, man, speaking of, UFC Denver was this past weekend.
Fucking Drew Dober
and John Silva. Oh my God, bro. That Silva dude is dirty. He's dangerous, right? Like, he's probably an oddball, right? But he leads the charge with MMA IQ. Like, he's a phenomenal athlete and undoubtedly violent, but he had to actually problem solve in that fight with Drew Dober, right? Mm-hmm. If he fought how he fought in the first round, he was on his way to a loss, right? But he made adjustments and he found out a way to win using MMA IQ, which is like their team are fighting nerds, I think.
Yeah. He's with Kyle Borrelio.
But yeah, he's is smart, but also a freak athlete, so fast, right? And like to do that to Drew Dober, who I have the utmost respect for Drew Dober. Like, he's a banger. He's a veteran in the game. I've met him at Landau multiple times. He's such a nice dude. That's one of the like most genuinely nice UFC fighters I've ever met is Drew Dober.
And a good looking dude.
Yeah, he's got the
strong jaw
of an Adonis. But no, that was a fun watch, which you made me think of because it ended in a horrific cut,
Dude,
bro. That
that was
Dober did not
gross.
even flinch at. He's
Yeah,
just like, yeah,
walk through
my
it.
eyebrow's
Fucking
falling off.
Terminator.
Fuck.
Yeah, yeah. No, dude,
Wild.
that was a good fight, and some of the things that when we talk about all these different fighters and the things that I find valuable in what they do is comes back to something you keep saying is fight IQ.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys we mentioned, like they love to be able to go out there and they love to be able to create, but they're only able to create because they are a student of the game. They understand the situations that they're in. Like a guy that neither of us mentioned, but obviously we both love is Volkanovski.
Yeah.
He might have the best fight IQ in all of mixed martial art. I'd say second to John Jones, but some up there with some of the greatest of all times in fight
Yeah.
IQ. And that what time and time again separates him from his opponents. Like outside of the slip up against Ilia, which was more or less probably just recurrent lingering symptoms from the Islam head kick. Like outside of those two things, he always is smarter than his opponent. Like he beat Max Holloway on fight IQ. Like that was the
Yeah.
bread and butter of what he did. He knew how to win those rounds so that he could win on the judge's scorecard. And it's a cool thing to see because I think that's probably one of the skills that if athletes focus on that a little bit earlier in their career, they can make big significant strides as they start to really know that more than their opponents.
Yeah, and that's an interesting question I want to hit you with is like how and when do you start implementing that within training, right? Like obviously it's I would regard it as a like higher tier skill,
Yep.
right? It's something that's a lot harder to manage. And then but from the outside it's so obvious, right? Like Joe Schmo watching the fights from his couch is going to say he should take him down or like whatever the fuck and
Right,
like
right.
and it's the right call
Get
and
up, get up.
right. And it doesn't mean that they know how to do it or they're accurate in their criticism, but it's like that is the obvious right thing to do, right? That's the fight IQ thing to do. But a lot of times your athletes get in there and they either rely too much on their superpower, go back to their game plan,
Or only listen to the coach in the corner instead of using the like information in
yeah,
front of them.
or
That's
only
another
do
big
one
one.
thing,
Yep.
right? Yeah. And so how early on and how are you starting to train some of this, Austin?
I mean, I believe personally it starts with film study. I think one of the best ways you can start to implement this is adding in film study and not just your own film, not just your sparring rounds, but like watching other fighters that you like their style, you would like to emulate, you would like to like perform like. That's where you can start to implement this fight on cue and just pick up what do the greats do well and what do they do bad. What does Cejudo do really well? His distance control is very, very good for somebody coming from the wrestling background. That's not a striker. That's one of the things that makes him dangerous. Okay, I'm going to watch how he does that, how he's in, how he's out, how he's able to get around certain situations and cut the distance off. Then you move on to the next one and the next one and the next one. And then that's almost like if we think about it, our cookbook. If we're talking about the cook to chef, you have to see how it should be done correctly before you start to figure out your own style with it.
Yeah.
And because of that, to answer your question, that's a long way to say I would like it's pretty early in the actual sequence of once I know this person is serious about mixed martial arts or whatever combat sport they're going into, once I know they're serious and willing to dedicate to it, we're going to start with some film study.
Yeah. And I think there's a underlying understanding that has to happen with your fighter, right? Like you're watching somebody that you want to emulate, let's say like Henry Cejudo, right? Because I'm a wrestler, Henry Cejudo's a wrestler. I want to fight like Henry, blah, blah, blah. Okay, he has really good distance management. We have to understand that even distance management is an upper echelon skill in striking, right? Like that, if I want to tell my fighter, you need to have better IQ in your distance management, know that you can only hit him with this from here and that is like, that fighter might not even know what this range
They don't even know what
feels
that
like.
range is.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's something that I've been in definitely a crash course on with some of the striking I've been going through is like, and I got this experience firsthand and I could sympathize with my athletes so much. I talked to some athletes like, well, he just got to chain to this and chain to that and like chain wrestle. Right. And like chain wrestling, yes, is the way to get better at wrestling. There's no doubt about it. Then when I'm striking, it's like, we got to manage distance. You got to manage distance. You got to manage distance. Like motherfucker, like, how? And
I
like,
don't understand.
and that's the same thing when I'm telling these dudes that don't know how to wrestle to chain wrestle, right? So it's like it's a hard ask,
It's just a language.
right?
It's a language you don't know yet, and it's unfortunately it's a language that takes a little bit.
So yeah, so that's I think one of the things like the film study and the IQ we can analyze and assess and see some of it, but then to put it into practice, first you need to go like practice the discrete skill of it,
Yeah.
right? Like, okay, this is your kicking range. How do I measure my kicking range? How do I know if I'm in kicking range? Okay, this is boxing range. How can I address that? How can I stop crashing? How can I whatever? You got to find those small things, but then it's not even time to implement into your fight IQ yet. You have to be able to feel those things before you can put them into your fight IQ. So that's like on the training side, on more of the athlete side, it gets really frustrating because like I'll watch Henry Cejudo and you say distance management. It's like, okay, I want to manage distance like Henry Cejudo. But then there's 5 years of practice is going to take before I can think about managing distance like Henry Cejudo, right?
For sure. But it comes down to like, to me, I 100% agree with you. But it comes down to like, all right, all I would do is just watch that over and over and over again and obsess. Yeah. And then what I want, then I'm going to make a drill off of what I saw. Yeah. And that drill, I'm going to do that every single day. And then I'm going to understand because like, yes, you have to get the basics. You have to do all these things. Like there's a specific way to learn distance management, but you can still have a certain intention behind why you're doing it. Like I'm not doing this to learn just the skill. I'm doing this to emulate something that I think is going to benefit me. And, and that informs our practice, if you will.
Yeah, it informs practice, but then, and I don't mean to just like bring up negatives. I'm kind of playing devil advocate, if you will.
I know you are.
But in practice now, I have to be willing to take some L's.
For sure.
Right?
Oh, 100%.
I'm going to practice this distance management. Like, believe me, I'm a wrestler through and through. I'm not a striker. don't get me wrong. Okay. I am going to crash every time because if I end up in a takedown, even if I end in a bad position getting taken down, that is more comfortable to me than boxing range. 100%. Right? And so that's the like wiggle room of like, okay, I'm going to like consciously hold back on this skill set so I can develop the MMA IQ thing that I'm trying to learn on this side of the fence. That kind of goes out the door when we're talking about 3 weeks out, 4 weeks out from your fight.
Yeah, or if you're in a cage round.
Go win that shit, right? But in some of our, like we talk about technical, tactical, and then competitive sessions, that's a tactical day move. Right. It's like, okay, I'm a good wrestler. I know I can take this dude down and hold him. Right. That's how I would win the round if we had a sparring round on Friday. But instead, today, I'm going to try and kickbox with him. Right. That's that like little game
Unless
that you play.
He hits me just a little bit too hard.
You swallow your fucking ego, man.
Yeah. He throws one head kick up. It's on.
Dude, that's the other thing I've learned too is the guys that hit you hard are not the guys that know what they're doing.
100%. Yeah.
The guys that hit you hard are the guys that are scared.
Unless they don't like you, then it might be the guys that know what you're doing.
The guys that know what you're doing fuck you up after you hit them hard.
Yeah, that's fair. 100%.
Yeah. So, very seldom do they not like me. They don't like getting hit by something.
Yes.
Like, no, motherfucker, I'm better.
Yeah, fuck.
So, no, but it's an interesting, like, ego swallowing practice. Is like, I'm not as good at this. Like, this has been my journey in jiu-jitsu the last 6 months.
I was about to say, I haven't struck yet, but that was when I was doing jiu-jitsu a little bit. That was my ego thing.
It's like, I know I can play top position and smother you and pressure pass and like get the back and just fucking ragdoll you. But I'm going to see if I can do that shit from my back too.
One of the things with jiu-jitsu for me was people knew I was a wrestler because I was doing it at the same gym that I was helping the team at. Yeah. And so they're all jiu-jitsu players. They kept wanting to go on the feet and do the whole wrestling thing. Yeah. When I'm like, I don't need to be better at wrestling jiu-jitsu people. I need to play off my back and have you try to do the thing I'm really uncomfortable with. So it was also like they know you have a skill set they want and they always want to try to use it.
Dude, I've made my whole open class wrestling based off of that thing. I get in my open class for wrestling, I get a bunch of jiu-jitsu dudes that have been taken down by wrestlers. They're like, teach me. I don't want to get taken down by this fuck anymore. Like, it doesn't even matter though. It's funny because they'll sub the dude in the guillotine 7 times.
For sure.
And they'll be like, How did he take
Just
me
sick
down?
of ending up on their back.
Yeah, it's like, all right, I'll teach you some takedowns. Like, you're never gonna take him down, but I'll teach you some takedowns.
Or more or less, I'll teach you how to sprawl so that you can get around.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, and that's I think that's a huge fight IQ thing that like can help training and like pliability is changing. And like sometimes there's the time what we're talking about is like you focus on the skill. I want this distance management. That's what I'm thinking through my practice. But other times it's good to like be pliable in that.
Right.
Okay, new partner, right? We're doing some live technical sparring, whatever it is, right? New partner. Who's this guy in front of me? Okay, what skills does he have? How do I beat him? Blah blah blah. Like critically think about that within practice while you're tired with a new partner. That's like I think that's a tremendously valuable skill to one guys on the team you probably have a little bit of knowledge on and maybe you felt some of their shit before. But can you adapt to what's new in front of you? Because in a fight, there's a bunch of new shit in front of you. It's like, can you adapt to that and then try and change mid fight, which is like one of the highest level skill sets that I've ever
Right.
seen.
I would put that on like a high end tactical day.
Yeah.
Like if we're trying to do like a 8.5 to 9 out of 10, that's when I'm starting to add that guy in, where it's I'm getting a new partner every go and it's a new challenge, or maybe I'm getting a fresh body or something like that. And that would, to me at least, I would say like that's for the competitive rollers.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if I would do that for like a white belt that's not competing.
No, yeah. No. I'm thinking like protein practice at this point, like MMA.
Gotcha.
But that's what a lot of my guys, that's what they do on Fridays for sparring.
Yep.
Right? We get our like kind of sparring set list. We get that maybe a half hour before practice. And guys start thinking about who I'm going against. All right, he's a wrestler. All right, who's I'm going to beat him. Blah blah blah. And like, you can simplify it down to an extent, but I also think that is a good like problem solving fight IQ exercise to go through.
For sure. Yeah, it forces you to think instead of just act, and that always, for the most part, makes you a little bit better.
Yeah, right. Which it's funny that you bring up jiu-jitsu. I was rolling maybe 2 Fridays ago at an open mat, and one of my buddies who just got his black belt opened up a gym like 10 minutes from my house. So it's
Okay.
perfect. I love just like dropping in. They have 2 open mats a week that I try and hit. But we were going jiu-jitsu. No, one of Scotty's underlings.
Gotcha.
I don't know if that's disrespectful. I don't know if that's disrespectful.
That sounded. I know you didn't mean it that way, but it sounded so disrespectful.
This guy,
you're gonna get fucked.
This guy taps me every time, right?
Yeah, you're gonna get
Grapple
fucked
House,
up.
Boris Knoll. Don't put any disrespect on that name. But no, he beats me all the time. But I can take him down, right? I can out wrestle him when we get into wrestling exchanges, right? And so the other day, like talking about like fight IQ, MMA IQ, we were going through our typical thing. Like I got to my top control and pressure. I got a little bit farther on my passing than normal, but then he ended up reversing situations. And I was like, man, that was a good sweep after the roll or whatever. He's like, it's like, yeah, I can never win if you have an underhook. If you have the underhook, I'm always losing. And I was like, and I didn't even think about it, but I was winning the underhook chronically. It's like, right. But like, that wasn't a hitch in my IQ. I was thinking, yeah, duh, an underhook's a good thing to have. I should have that.
Yeah, that was just wrestling carrying over.
Exactly. Yeah. Whereas he has to kind of leap that hurdle from his like jiu-jitsu knowledge, right? And I have different hurdles that I was thinking about, but I was like, oh, that's what he's keen. And he's a black belt, like a little higher level than me, like beats me a lot. So I'm like, okay, maybe I can learn from him and like kind of key onto that too.
What are some of the hurdles that you kind of have seen now that you're what? Are you 2-stripe blue belt? 1-stripe blue belt?
4-stripe, bitch.
Ooh, damn. You've been putting in work. So 4-stripe blue belt, like coming from that college wrestling background, what are some of the hurdles that you still see on a day-to-day basis?
I thought, and I do generally have like good heavy hips. I thought I had really heavy hips, but I don't. As soon as you get into somebody's guard or half guard, like you'll start to understand where there's like some gaps and holes in like heavy hips type of mentality, right? Like good. Like when I go with upper belts or guys that have more like just jujitsu on me, like I can't get away with just like sitting heavy on my hips. They are really good at off balancing hips.
Yeah.
I mean, I can float decently, right? But yeah, from the bottom, they have a lot more motion than me, right? And so like heavy hips is one thing that like I've had to kind of retool and think of. Like the way I ride hips works when I get the back, and it works if they're internal, right? And those are
or if you have probably like a half guard.
Yeah, that's like some of the only positions. Like if I want to pass to side control, knee on belly, mount, like some of these things, I need different types of hips,
Yeah.
right? So that's like one of the biggest things I'm trying to problem solve. I still suck at like attacking off my back, right? And it's never gonna be my
What's your go-to?
from my back.
Yep.
Play a Z guard, try and hit a single leg get up.
Okay. Okay. So I definitely thought you'd say a submission, but a get
Nope,
up.
not that.
Nice.
No, pummel for an underhook, Z guard, single leg get up, 100%.
Perfect. At least 8. We're staying in our lane.
Right, but yeah. So I suck off my back, and it's never going to be my bread and butter. But I would at least like to be able to implement a good guard system. It's
Yeah.
just a skill that is lacking.
Can you get to rubber guard?
No. I have hit a couple omoplatas.
Damn. Who says you don't attack off your back?
I mean, they're mostly sweeps. I finish very seldom things do I finish. But
nice. Big arm triangle guy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Big arm triangle guy, big get the back guy and hang on and hope a rear naked choke falls in my lap. I can attack a decent arm bar off the back.
How's your leg lock game?
You know, to use a term that the kids use, very mid
Very
at best.
mid. Okay.
Like
big 6 out of 10 guy.
I'm past the step of like as soon as somebody grabs my ankle tapping, right?
Okay.
I'm not there anymore.
Better than me.
But I still lose probably 90% of the exchanges I get in with leg locks.
Yeah. Just because they're beating you, or because you get uncomfortable?
No,
okay, gotcha.
Again, I have my automatic out. Like stand up and fucking wrestle. Like that doesn't hurt me, right? But if it's like, oh, we're in a leg lock game and I'm going to try and win the leg lock, I'm losing 90% of the time.
Gotcha.
Right?
Okay.
But if I want to, and I know somebody's going to leg lock, I'm like kicking out, passing the knee line, and standing up. Like that's
nice.
That's I don't know, not a coward's way out, but
it's okay. You could be a coward.
That's
cowards live. Cowards live to fight another day,
me, right? And but we're talking about it like I've been through definitely some ups and downs with my ego, right?
Yeah, for sure.
It's like
but I'm fucking sick of losing.
I'm fucking sick of losing. I'm going to the shit I know wins.
Yes.
Versus I actually want to grow here is like a constant battle. I think in a lot of MMA athletes or people's journeys.
Yeah, that's the one thing. I don't know if I'll ever be able as somebody with trashed knees from my entire wrestling career.
Yeah.
That's something I don't know if I'll ever be able to get past if I do endeavor into like the deep end of jiu-jitsu instead of just kind of fucking around with the fighters.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but that's still nerd jiu-jitsu though, right? Like
explain.
in an MMA setting, you're not getting heel hooked, right?
Right.
Like,
yeah, you use it as a sweep.
Yeah, MMA guys are just too athletic, right? Like I hate to say this, right? Because like jiu-jitsu and everything's predicated on their technique.
Damn, you're shitting on people today.
But it's true though, like from experience, like some of this shit just does not work because the person in front of me is an athlete. They're 100%. Fucking
no, you're not wrong.
Being athletic, right? And so like that was like one of the biggest realizations I had. I was like talking to one of my buddies, Cody Brundage, and I was like, man, I hate jiu-jitsu when I have to play off my back. And he's like, just fucking don't. And like to this day, I have not seen Cody Brundage on his back in a jiu-jitsu exchange. I was like, oh, that's how he solves that problem.
Okay, that's fair enough. You don't get there.
Good. Yeah. But no, like I think there are delineations of like too much into the weeds, and we get there with wrestling too,
for
right?
Sure.
Like
for sure.
When we're talking about reattacks or like recovery shots from like in the bottom of a front head, it's not happening in MMA.
Right. Yeah, you're just gonna drag out.
Yeah, you're gonna drag out, or if you sit there, you're gonna get
choked.
Beat. Yep. You're gonna get your ass kicked.
100%. Yeah.
So it's like I don't know, understanding when and where the tools apply in what discipline.
Yeah. Yeah, and I would assume just again, I haven't dove as deep into jiu-jitsu, but I would assume also it's the same thing that like people get going into MMA, where like you said, like the tools for the right system, but it's just the blending. Like, where do I go to this versus that? Where do I go to, I want to be a wrestler and use my wrestling here versus, oh, fuck, I need to play jiu-jitsu here because that's the sport I'm in.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a hard it's
because
a hard
people
call to
think they're the
make in the
same,
moment.
right?
Yeah.
People think they're the same, but as somebody that's done both, one a lot, the other one just a little, but there's a clear delineation of when I need to use, like you said, like my wrestling hips, or when I should be trying to use my jiu-jitsu hips. Like my wrestling hips don't help me in certain situations, so I need to know the other one.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the ways that I look at that, and I can see that, is like a lot of the times, like thinking of a wrestler going to jujitsu, you get away with shit,
For sure.
right? Like I'm getting away with, this takedown because the person that I'm going with maybe hasn't nailed their guillotine enough, right? And then when you go with somebody good, it's like, I got the other day at Open Man, I got guillotined 6 times in a row by this guy. And like,
Yep.
he's a motherfucker in jiu-jitsu, right? Stand him up and give me wrestling rules, I'm going to win, right? But that's not what we're playing. That's not the rule set, right? And so like he's, drilled a guillotine to no end, and I'm sure that's his like pocket ace, right? Is the guillotine or whatever. But it's like no matter
why
what
didn't you problem solve that?
I
Hit a
fucking
different
tried.
shot.
I tried. Well, the second time I rolled for him, I didn't get hit with any. So chill the fuck out. All right. But the first roll we went, it was like no matter what I tried, we ended up in the guillotine. And
Yeah, he ended up.
Was his
Was he jumping guard or was he doing it mounted, or both?
Doesn't fucking matter. No, we didn't even start on our feet. He started on his butt, or I started on my butt. If I started on my butt, he like snapped my head and went to the guillotine. Yeah. If he started on his butt, he would wait for me to commit even half an inch, like in any regard. So yeah, like some of those tactical things are like within moments.
For sure.
I don't know.
Well, and now what's cool is now you got good ammo to practice. Are you still competing at all, or are you just doing the classes right now?
I thought about it. I thought about doing a competition here coming up at the end of July, but I'm gonna pump the brakes on competition.
Yeah, I'm chilling for a little bit.
Yeah, and it's genuinely not as fun to me right now.
That's fair. Yeah.
Like the last jiu-jitsu tournament I had like relative success. Got to the final and then got beat by a wrestler, which was ironic. But it just like guys are so full of piss and vinegar, and like it's like we can't even get into like a real scramble because you're holding on to me so tight.
Yeah,
it's
they're
like,
going for the advantage point to win the match.
Yeah, it's like chill out, bro.
Which I mean, to be fair, as somebody that used to wrestle like that here and there, like I'm good with it. Like if that's their game, cool. Yeah. But that's not what I want to do when I'm out here having fun. My competitive days are over. If I'm going to compete, I'm going to go compete and try shit because now's my time. Like it's way lower stakes.
Yeah, 100%, which opens a lot of avenues, but like I can experience that at an open mat, right? That's like what an open mat's really fun for is like,
But you don't get the medal at open mat. You can't take the picture on the podium.
Yeah, but people talk. And when they talk, they know.
Shut the fuck up. People talk about me. Kind of a big deal. I don't know if you know it.
Yeah, as in I got that one sub one time. Oh man.
Fuck.
No, but it's fun, man. Like that is
What do you like more, striking or grappling?
Grappling by far.
Yeah. I guess I mean like jiu-jitsu and striking. The new stuff you're trying as opposed to wrestling. Jiu-jitsu? Yeah.
Yeah. Like because just jiu-jitsu is like a cousin of something I already know, and I can like I have the
fun cousin that gives you drinks when you're 18.
Exactly. Yeah, it's ironically good in an analogy. But no, it's like something I'm good enough to like freestyle and flow with. Mm-hmm. Right? Like in striking I can tell I'm just
kind of know the language.
Like I'm not even there yet, right? Like I was excited, and it was silly that I was excited the other week. Like I got jabbed really hard and I got a black eye, and it's like, all right, these guys are it's like, all right, these guys are actually taking me serious enough to hit me. So that's a fucking good thing, because the first month or two I was striking, believe me, everybody was just playing nice.
For sure. And they also knew that you could fuck up them in workouts.
Yeah.
Like they're like, oh,
I had the coaches
more Versa climber sprints, hard pass.
I was kind of pissed the other day. Actually, we were going in a group of 3, and we were doing like a Shark Tank, and it was like striking, and I was huffing hard, and one of the guys walked over and was like, drop him with a body shot, because it was probably obviously there. Yep. And one of the athletes like, I'm not going to do that to my coach. I was like, Fuck you. Fuck you for saying that.
That's so respectful and disrespectful all at the
Pissed
same time.
me off, bro. I'm like,
That's him
God
saying he
damn it.
knows he could, but he respects you, so he won't.
I know, and I'm like, fuck.
Which makes it even more disrespectful.
Mm-hmm. So, but no, I mean, I think I'm getting a little bit more put together in a mixed martial arts game. But yeah, man, there's definitely a lot of like frustration that goes along with that.
It's just new skills, dude. New skills in general. Like learning anything's kind of fucking frustrating unless you are
100%.
obsessed with it.
What's the new skill you've been working on or trying to learn?
Life.
Yeah. Okay. Elaborate, please. Like, do you not know how to do the laundry? Like,
fuck, dude, life is rough.
you got what, 4 months to figure that shit out?
Yeah, no shit. No, it's probably. I mean, life is the right answer. It's just trying to get better at the business thing. We got a kid on the way, trying to figure out how to be an adult before I have to look after something.
Yeah.
It's like I'll just more or less like I'm not learning any new language or learning any new sport or anything, but I'm learning how to make the right system for probably the next 24 to 25 years of my life as we start to have more kids and figure out, all right, how is this going to work? So just prepping for that and learning about like, what are my goals? What's everything going to be doing? Or what am I going to be pushing towards when I have to be a real adult now? And where am I going to give my time to, and how does it fit into my schedule? Which for somebody that likes to say yes to everybody that I possibly can is a pretty daunting thing.
Yeah, time becomes a limited resource. I mean, it's truly the only limited resource. But
dude, I was so good at time management for the majority of my life. And then I finally felt like I feel like I was way better at time management when I wasn't doing what I loved.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's 100%. Yeah.
And now I'm so bad at it because I would do my job for free. If I never had to worry about bills, I would legitimately do my job for free. Yeah. I probably wouldn't work the 12-hour days, but I would go help people for no money.
Yeah.
Which makes my time management so poor because that's something I always want to do. And then I'm like, oh, fuck, I got other shit I got to do this day. And then like, I got to make it home, or, oh, I should probably not just be doing my job. I need time to recharge myself.
Dude, it blows my mind. Like, I don't know. There's a couple good examples of this. Like, I think being a parent is one. Or like I see this in a lot of like higher level executives, right? Of not necessarily like how little they do, but how little it seems like they do, right? Because they've what
wild.
It's like it seems you can see the prioritization of tasks so clearly. You know, it's like what motherfucker? Like you worked 4 hours a day, or like you solved 2 problems today, like. And they're high order problems, and like I don't mean any disrespect when I say that, but it's like, motherfucker, I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off trying 100%. To solve 20 problems.
Yeah, and 15 for other people.
Yeah, it's like, how did you get to that place where you get all the benefits plus some that I want, and you only have to deal with the 2 problems that are actually interesting?
By doing what you did for a very long time.
I know.
A lot of luck.
I know, man, and it's fucking frustrating. But like, and I don't, like you said, there's no cheat code to do it, right? Everybody's on this life hack shit going on around. And it's like, if they kind of made those prioritization decisions that they made when they were 20, if they did that back in the day, they're not getting to where they are now.
100%. And they also would not be getting to where they were now. Like they'd probably be doing something else because they'd realize it was way too hard to do what they were doing. And they're not going to be able to stick with that when they don't see the return on their investment, when they're trying these life hacks over and jumping from hack to hack to hack to hack.
Yeah.
Which sucks because we miss out on a lot of good people that should be doing what they're doing, and they're just not able to like put it together in the time frame they want. But
true, that organization is a killer.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yep.
On that note, well, fuck.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that got somber real quick.
Yeah. No, what are you looking forward to this week? You said you fucked up your ear. For people that are watching the podcast, Alex has a fucking wrestling head wrap on over one of his cauliflower ears. So,
Yeah,
so he's
trying
not
not.
training on Thursday.
I'm trying to not have a balloon for an ear. No, I'm getting a tattoo on Thursday, which would be
Yeah,
cool.
nice.
Tiger.
How long do you wait before you go back to working out for your tattoos?
I'm super cautious on it because I want to like protect my investment in
Yeah,
that regard. So
fair.
I probably give it a full week before I like get on the mat again. Like
Gotcha.
I'll do some like strength and conditioning and some like running and type bullshit, but I don't want to get on the mat
Yeah.
and risk a ton of infection or fuck up the artwork or this. Like
Dude,
I have buddies,
tattoo infections.
dude.
Oof.
I have fucking dudes that get on the mat the next day after the tattoo, and I'm
Oh
like,
yeah,
what the
I've seen
fuck are you
them.
doing, bro?
Yeah.
Like, so I'm not trying to fuck up my tattoo, and I'm not trying to prolong my injury. And like again, I have relatively low stake for
Yep.
myself, training and being on the mat. So I give myself a good week, 2 weeks.
Nice. Yeah, I always wondered that just because only got's the one, and I didn't know. I
Yeah.
talked to my other athletes about it, like, oh, how long do they wait? Because some of my athletes they'll wait like 10 days before they even lift, because that was at
Yeah.
the recommendation of the tattoo artist.
The tattoo artists definitely say like try not to sweat, and like it depends on what bandage they use
Yeah.
too. Right? If they use some of the Tagarum stuff, that's like 7 to 10 days. They don't want you sweating a whole lot, or
Yeah.
but
That
if
thing will
like
stank.
yeah, or if you go on to some dude that just does a paper towel and some medical tape,
Nice.
yeah,
That is
that's
a
a
pretty
couple.
big disparity. I never really thought about it like that. Yeah.
Some people, yeah, there's a very wide industry gap in the tattooing world, which I guess is not surprising, but
No. Yeah. Dude, that's such a cool thing that lacrosse was doing. I believe lacrosse was doing it because I think that's what my brother's roommate was in. But like tattoo design becoming like an actual major,
is that
and
what
like
they're doing now?
I think so. Yeah, I
That's
think
pretty
that's
fucking
what my
wild.
Jackson's roommate Holly was doing. But I think that's like an actual like art because like think about it, like it is an art form. It's something
Yeah,
that used to you couldn't learn formally. You had to learn through like a mentor mentee program, but now like you can actually get a formal background in it and then go into like an internship and figure that out, which could separate you and could develop the art form even more.
yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. There's definitely probably like an area of study at least for tattoos, like cultural origins and um, like on a socio-political level. That'd be definitely
You
interesting
always
to
go to your
study.
soft sciences.
Fuck yeah, but like in a practical sense, like,
That
and this is
tattoo
where
sounds really cool, but what
this
about
is
the
where I go.
sociology of tattoos?
This is where I go left brain, right brain on you though, because when you say getting a major in that and trying to work into an internship, a major in like tattooing at a university sounds like such a waste of money and time.
It teaches you the fine detail, this line stroke, like being able
I
to
don't
do,
doubt that like an art degree is useful,
yeah,
but
understanding perspective,
such
understanding art
a waste of
concepts.
money, right? Like I don't know. I think
Got
universities
to be
and
a
this
cook before you can get to a chef, homie.
dude, this is going to be a wild statement, but I think universities are going to be extinct in 10 years. Um,
That's not true at all. What? That is a wild statement.
10,
Now,
10 years might 10
I
years might be a fast track, but I think they're going to be obsolete in the future.
I don't think you're wrong in the point that you would say they are overhyped and there's a lot of bullshit degrees out there, but you have to be a cook before you can be a chef. We've said this on the podcast a lot of times.
People are going to figure out how to become a cook for a way more efficient uh like modality. I'm not going to university to spend 40K
I
when
think
I
it's
could go
too
to community
cultural.
college and pay this to whatever. Community
I
college,
I don't
fucking
think that
online like apprenticeships and like certification courses. Like I think those are going to become way more common and the university system is going to hit a fucking valley,
well, they're
bro.
definitely going to have to figure out what's going on with the whole student debt because I got a strong feeling that's going to get forgiven at some point just because that's just how it is. It's gotten to be excessive. And in order to get to the
Yeah.
next stage, it seems like that's almost a given that has to happen. But for which sucks because that's a lot of money that US just eats. But either way, the like actual college industry itself, I think it's just going to adapt. I think they're going to do what they always do and follow the economics of what's going on. I don't think they're going to be able to continue to charge $100,000 for a 4-year degree, or sometimes, fuck, what is Brown? I think was 66 a year or something
Jesus
like that.
Christ. Yeah, that type of education is going down
Yeah,
in
I think
flames, bro.
that's more or less what I think is going to happen. I think it's going to go from the Ivy Leagues or what people aspire to. It's going to go more towards the cultural aspects of I'm going to college for a purpose.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because like I said, that idea of being able to afford a school like that at a price point, like the people that have the ability to afford that are going to get less and less as the like wage gap increases.
Well,
And then
in an increased entrepreneurship economy, which is what we're in right now, it's people are starting businesses left and right because they want to be more self-reliant. There's
mhm.
no benefit to going to an Ivy League school. Yeah, you're getting a really good education, but the
And that
largest benefit you got from going to Harvard is telling people you went to Harvard to get
I
yourself hired.
couldn't agree more, which is why I think the whole tattooing major is a waste of fucking money.
It's
The only um place that like tattooing exists in business is in an entrepreneurial pursuit, right?
sure.
Similar thing with strength and conditioning. Similar thing with a lot of like passion careers, quote unquote. Like if all right, you want to do this cool fucking thing, sign up your fucking business, get it registered, be a 1099, right? Like do it yourself or get raked to figure it out.
Yeah, but I think where we're differing is I think what I'm saying is that I think the Ivy Leagues are going to be devalued. I think all these prestigious universities are going to drop down. I'm not saying that college shouldn't exist. I still think there's a base level you learn from going to any economics degree, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure like University of Chicago's the top econ program is probably going to be better than Lacrosse's was.
Yeah.
100%. But how much on my return on my investment? Am I able to get the basics so that I can get the cookbook so that I can go be an entrepreneur? Because the one thing that a lot of businesses fail because people just jump in instead of having a plan and understanding how to enact their plan, which is what school is for.
Yeah, so I agree with you that the knowledge set is super valuable in that regard. And I was taking a big stab in the dark once I was said universities are going to be obsolete in 10 years or whatever, but like they will go through a major shift in the 10 years. And I'll come around to your argument on that point, right?
Thanks,
Because
bitch.
sure, whatever. The the current structure that they have isn't going to work,
Yeah.
right? And I like firsthand will say like is my master's degree interesting? Did I have fun doing it? Do I think it's, somewhat intellectually valuable? Yes. Has it made me any fucking money? No.
Yes.
No. 100% doubt.
It's
Right?
made you a better coach.
Yeah, I don't doubt that.
Which don't you get paid to coach?
I agree. But
Oh,
there's
okay.
people in my same status that don't have the degree, right? And so
It's fair.
right. And so I'm not saying that again, it's worthless.
Yeah.
I didn't say that. I'm saying that what you pointed out about like the most valuable thing about going to Harvard is being in network and
Yeah.
having Harvard on your resume and like, playing that networking game, right? So I think such a less premium if you're not in that like corporate circle or you're not going for like some of those more standardized jobs, if you will.
For sure. Yeah. If you're gonna be a lawyer, go to Harvard. Right. If you're
Yeah.
going to start a strength and conditioning gym, it doesn't. I mean, that is literally part of the reason why I didn't go to Brown. Like
Yeah.
it's, I mean, outside of the life situation, and then like Eric being there as well, and having like a comfort of being able to go up there. And obviously, I love lacrosse. If I can commit it on my way home, it was
Mm-hmm.
like I knew I want to be a chiropractor. I know I'm going to have to go to chiro school, and I also know that I'm going to start my own business. Is going and spending $66,000 a year on an undergraduate education in entrepreneurship going to set me at a increased level of success or an increased like level than if I went to lacrosse, paid a fraction of that price, and still got a really good education while still being able to be an athlete. I picked that one.
Yeah, right.
Because the
Well,
return on investment just wasn't there, right? And it's cool, it's fun, it would be fun, but like if we live life off of what can I get in that return on investment, I'm gonna pick the thing, even if like this is considered even better, but that's not practical. That's very like status driven. That's not a
yeah.
practical way to think of, oh, I can justify that.
Yeah. And I don't know. I think that's where you and I differ a lot. You did all that analysis, thought about your return on investment, knew what you were going to do. I was shooting from the hip, bro. Right. Like,
I just don't understand how people can't think like that's all I think about. That's how I assess everything.
not me at all.
That's
It's like
literally how I pick certain things, like how I pick to do things.
it literally looks at like, what's the next pathway that's most interesting or most beneficial to me? All right, going that way.
Gotcha.
It's literally, how I've driven my life.
Big old shot in the darks there, homie.
It's a lot. Like fucking going to college, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where can I wrestle? Pretty much the exclusive thought.
Yep.
All right, wrestling's over. What do I want to get into? I like run out, strength and conditioning, super interesting to me, and it's a way I can still be involved in athletics. Exercise science, strength and conditioning it is. Okay. I want to move out west. I want a little bit more adventure. How can I make that work in my life? University of Denver, right? Perfect, right? All right, this shit's not working for me. What do I want to get back to? Mixed martial arts. Did it, right? And so it's like, and then like strength conditioning's less interesting to me now. Wrestling coaching is really fucking interesting. That was super fun experience. How can I shift my life to be more like that?
Yep.
Right. And so a lot of those decisions, are up for criticism or whatever, but that's literally how I've moved forward.
You're really good at guessing.
I don't know if that's 100% guessing, but it's following intuition and passion for sure.
For sure. And it's worked out so far. Can't say it hasn't.
We're here.
Yeah. No, it's cool it is cool to think about. Like that's something I've never even thought before. Like not right now, but when I was younger, is I'm like, oh, I just assumed everybody thought like me. And learning that other people don't think like me has helped me understand people so much better.
Dude, the most wild thing that you said to me and that you still say to this day that I like can never sympathize with is I've always known what I want to do. That is fucking a crazy statement. I still don't know what I want to do.
Forever.
It's still puzzling to me, right? It's like, that's fucking cool.
I know.
I'm glad that you can shape your life around that. But
finding out that I was the weird one has helped me so much in like connecting with other people.
Yeah.
Because I always used to just get frustrated with people, and I'd just get pissed. And I'm like, why don't you know? Why don't you know what you want to do? How do you not have a plan for this? And now like learning that, oh, I'm fucked up. I'm the weird one here.
Well, you're welcome for shedding light on how fucked up you are.
Yeah. Well, you were the start. but no, I mean, it's been helped. It's helped so much because it's given me positive coping skills.
Well, I think everybody has that, like, I don't know, like that realization or that like beginning levels of empathy, right? Is like,
all right, not great at that yet.
That person thinks way differently than me. And like, yeah, this is what you need to work on. Is like, that doesn't make that wrong.
Like, well, that's debatable.
Exactly. Right. And so it's like, okay, that person lives their life very differently than me and, makes a lot of different choices. And like, sure, the way I think is weird, the way they think is weird for sure. But like, what's inherently good and bad about that? Yeah. Right. Like where's the deeper value that I can say, I don't want to point and say that's wrong because it's not how I would do it, but that's wrong because of like some underlying value or some more important thing.
But where do you draw the line on that?
It's a game of life, bro. That's
where do you draw that line?
Where do you draw that line?
I don't know.
Like a lot of people draw it like harming people.
I was going to say, like,
does that hurt somebody?
That guy likes to touch kids. I don't like to touch kids. That's guy's wrong.
Yeah. Again, hurting people, right? So it's like, what's the value of that, right? Like it's hurting people, right? So it's like, okay, so whatever you're doing, it can be weird and different, Does it hurt people? Yes. Okay, it's wrong, and I can say that it's wrong with confidence,
But
right? But where's
what is hurting people?
all right, now you're playing the fucking
Playing
social game.
psychiatrist.
Yeah. But
No,
no.
it's a fun thing to think about because it just allows, like, literally that was the realization that allowed me to figure out, like, oh, huh, that I can understand other people better now that I know that they all don't just think like that,
Yeah.
and helps a lot trying to figure out things from other people's perspective and being a coach, which
Which, yeah, is a huge, barrier to coaching, right? Is being able to understand people, empathize with them, and then reach them with whatever guidance that you think is important.
100%. Well, everybody, I think that's our freestyle. So if you guys got to get in touch with us, all of our info is in the show notes. If you're looking for programs, buildingafighter.com. We got you covered with every option you can possibly think about from our programming standpoints. So that's buildingafighter.com. Check us out there. As always, Dr. Austin Shane.
Alex Friedman.
And we are out.